Bubba has been placed dead center. So,
Yes, he
Blasi,
has.
give us this timeline that you have. I know that you
Yeah,
you
so
got this.
all right. So let's just here we are. Why are we here? Why are we here right now? Because I noticed yesterday Stormy Daniels testified, and in that testimony, she talked about not. She didn't mention his name specifically, but they asked her when's the first time she talked about this publicly prior to 2016 when the allegation was made against Donald Trump, and she said it was in a radio station in Tampa and with a on a show. Well, we all know that's Bubba the Love Sponge when she was on the show in 2007.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why we're here right now. I saw that she's set to testify again tomorrow. Now, this is first of all, this is her word, right? This is a porn star. She's on a station with at the time, Bubba the Love Sponge, one of the biggest shock jocks in the country.
The
And
goat.
yeah, absolutely. And so for her to say that, like, it's not surprising if she said that she, had slept with Donald Trump. Like, what's she going to say? She slept with a guy that owns 4 gas stations down in up in Ocala.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she's going to say something a little more profound. So whether she said this or not, because I don't think it was ever said, allegedly written down, allegedly she said it, she didn't say it. It doesn't even matter. It's like, first of all, it's a porn star saying something. So that's why we're here. But it put Bubba the Love Sponge back in the center here, and here he is. There's the first connection. We go back to 2007 when she was on the show, and she claimed that somehow, allegedly, in writing, she wrote it on a piece of paper and showed it to him that Donald Trump was one of the people that she had slept with. Okay, so as we start to look at this, I'm going to back up one moment here before I get too far down this timeline. I know Bubba's a little nervous about being called, right? I don't blame him, like I said earlier. But I think there's a way where Bubba can win. I think Donald Trump's defense team, if they called Bubba, they could win. It's a true win-win, right?
Yeah.
So let me continue with this timeline. So we move past 2007. So there's the first connection, right to Bubba, right? Stormy Daniels
This shit
on
goes
there.
back. I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is
No.
deeper than the Kendrick Drake deal that's going on right now.
Way
This
deeper,
shit goes
man.
back to 2007.
Way
That one
deeper,
only
man.
goes back to 2009. I've been going down a
You're
rabbit
right.
hole, but anyhow, yeah, continue.
You're right.
It'll come
Yeah,
out.
this is way before that. So, all right. So now let's fast forward to 2012, right? So, this is when the whole Hulk Hogan sex tape scandal broke, right? There was Hulk Hogan. We all know this story. Hulk Hogan, was having sex with Bubba's wife, and it was on video. And then it ends up coming out. Gawker publishes it, and suddenly Bubba looks like the horrible guy and the whole deal. He gets fired. He loses his job as the morning guy. The afternoon guy takes over, right? So we all know this story. There's a whole nother breakdown of that if you don't. But once again, let's go back at what happened in 2012. So in 2012, Keith Davidson and Matt Lloyd were trying to extort. This is the key word because extortion is the key thing that continues to happen here. Hulk Hogan. And they get a hold of this tape that came from Bubba's security system in his house. They steal this tape, and now they're trying to peddle it, and they're trying to extort Hulk Hogan for I think 200 grand, right? Well, upon this deal, the FBI, Hulk and them, they let them know. The FBI comes in. There's a full sting operation. They're in there trying to extort this thing. They bust in. They handcuff them. They arrest them. And guess what never happens?
What?
They were never charged.
Yeah,
Nobody
that
was
never
ever
happened.
charged.
That's what happened.
This is prior to the sex tape being released. They had them. They had them dead to rights, like Bubba says. That they had them. This would have Hulk Hogan would have never been had to go through what he went through. Bubba would have gone through what he went through if they would just taken them down right then. Take them down, man. You had them. So why did they let Keith Davidson go? Why did they not say another word about it? Why did he testify the other day that he was not a target of the investigation when he was targeted and thrown to the ground and handcuffed? Yes, you were, brother. You were trying to peddle this garbage. So there's the 2012. Now, what later happened? So they didn't They didn't do anything to him. He walks away. That never happens. I mean, cocaine dealer gets busted selling cocaine, and then you see him on the street the next day. What is he?
He's still a cocaine dealer.
And he's probably an informant if he's not arrested, right?
Oh, yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, they let him loose. That's right.
Right.
That's
But
right.
there's
Yeah.
somehow you're owned by somebody at that point because they never charged you, you moved on. So he's out there free as a bird, right? So y'all just bear with me on this because this continues. And I know Bubba's laid a lot of this out, but I've got a full connection here and how this can be a great strategy for everybody. So later, Tony Burton, after this sting operation, and Mike Coulter try to peddle this thing to Gawker. Like, man, it's not enough. Y'all almost got busted by the FBI, but y'all felt comfortable enough to, well, let's just keep wiggling down the street here. Let's see if we can get this over to Gawker. Well, they get it over to Gawker. And
a reputable media outlet, by the way.
Great media outlet, yeah. So they get this thing out there, man. And that's how the Hulk Hogan sex tape scandal came to be because, honestly, the FBI failed to do their job at that time. If they'd have done what they were supposed to do that time and take the people down that were trying to peddle it, this would have never happened. So that,
right.
Exactly, yeah. So once again, who do we have with Keith Davidson, who's Stormy Daniels' attorney at the time? Who's at center because whose tape was that got stolen? Bubba the Love Sponge.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's Bubba the Love Sponge. So
there's one dot. There's two dots now. Honestly.
There are two dots. There
two
are
dots.
2 dots. Mm-hmm. So now let's move on to 2016 election, right? So going into that 2016 election, this guy named Donald Trump, everybody knows Donald, right? They didn't take him seriously. And then suddenly he just blew everybody away, right? It was just storming the competition on the GOP side. And guess what bubbles back up again?
Here
The conversation stated back, with the deal stated back from Stormy Daniels back to guess who's her attorney, Keith Davidson, coming in, they're going for an extortion deal. Once again, we got extortion, right? They're trying to extort Donald Trump in some fashion based on something she said on a show. That's the only evidence of this. Something she said on the show and some correspondence, which whatever, man. Who even cares? At the end of the day, this is extortion over and over again. So now we got Stormy Daniels once again. We've got Keith Davidson once again. Back to that. There's that whole thing built on extortion. Back from the 2007 story. Back to Bubba. There's Bubba connected again. Back to Bubba.
The common denominator in this entire conversation.
Yes. And he's still, again, all throughout this, let's go 2012, 2000, he's still the bad guy. Everybody still thinks he's the one who took that tape, tried to peddle it, tried to go out and broker that thing out, tried to go out and sell it to Gawker. And you know what I mean? They still thought this was the guy. You know what I mean? He's still going, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Right.
It just came from my house. So here we are now. It's 2024. Well, now we've got this criminal hush money trial going on, all built on the foundation of extortion, man. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't believe this is even really happening. It is unbelievable. This is a real, actual trial that's going down with a guy, Keith Davidson. They've done an okay job, in my opinion, of like telling who he is and how we even got here.
Yeah.
Just kind of backing up. Who is he? He's the guy involved in that Lindsay Lohan deal. He brokered some stuff there. Charlie Sheen, Hulk Hogan. Dude, he is not a good guy. He is a professional extortionist. That's what he does.
He gets paid.
He gets paid to extort people. That's what he does, man.
Yeah.
It's all about the money. There's zero credibility with this cat whatsoever, So, dude, it's kind of mind blowing to me. Of like, I don't even understand how this thing's still going. I don't know how it's been thrown out already.
It won't go away. Like shit, this thing I thought it would have been done years ago. It's just nothing goes away with Trump. That's the thing. It's like it just doesn't go away.
It never does. It never does, man. And
people just keep coming after him. I'm not taking a side one way or the other, but one thing is a fact that it just never ends. They're going to keep coming no matter what happens. They're just going to keep coming after him.
That's a whole nother opinion, but like I've never seen anything like this in the history of this country. Have I seen somebody go after a political opponent and the way they're going after this guy? and I don't care. And I'm more of a, like, I've always been more of a, centrist. You know what I mean? On certain things, I'm a little bit more liberal on, but more things, probably more conservative. Today, I'm probably considered some right winger. You know what I mean? By these new standards that we've come up with, which are crazy to me. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But back to this deal. So, all right. So here we are, right? Here we are. This is all going down. Now she's testified yesterday on this radio show. I mean, on this during this trial about being on Bubba's show in 2007, and then now, Bubba today woke up going, "Oh, am I going to be possibly called by someone?"
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. I'd be like nervous as hell. Like, is it defense? Is it straight? I don't want to be put in a weird situation. Like I don't want to. I've got it all figured out. All right. So here's the action I think needs to happen. Trump's defense team, they need to call Bubba up there. And Bubba's probably going, "Dude, are you serious? Are you saying this right now? Like, hold on, just bear with me. Bear with me. Bubba has the right? If he wants to go back to that 2007 thing where nothing was really said, memories fade. Like, I don't know what I saw, didn't see, or whatever. Dude, he could plead the fifth here, right?
Yeah.
He could plead the fifth on that point. But as the defense team, they need to back up a little bit. And they need to dig a little bit further, and they need to start highlighting and going into that whole extortion attempt back to 2012. Let's really, really look at this Keith Davidson situation, and let's really expose this guy for what he is and what he's done, and all the connections back to Bubba the Love Sponge. It's like I almost feel like Bubba was a target from day one, and they used him as a pawn. And this whole it's like this is something they set up, and they held on to Keith Davidson from 2012. I don't know who they is.
Yeah,
but the
whoever they
FBI was
are.
the one that operated the sting. But like they used him as a pawn, and it's like Bubba, like because Bubba's just a shock jock. Like it doesn't matter what he thinks or says, but like so Bubba go in there and plead the fifth, highlight this whole extortion attempt, really lay that onion open. You know what I mean? Dive into this thing, talk about how, what happened post that that whole sting operation, how finally that tape was actually distributed, like the repercussions of somebody not taking action at the point, and why did they not take action? Why? And just pose the question and let the jurors, let everybody think about that themselves. Why did they not take action against Keith Davidson back then, and how do we even get here today?
Right. Yeah.
That's me. So you create this narrative, and you build it on doubt, and you really, really, really highlight the extortion that took place here, and for me, I think you got this. It's a giant win for the defense team. Bubba gets to vindicate himself without implicating anyone against this whole, what happened to him through Mike Calta, and how he took his job, and how they went after him, and they stole that, and they peddled it to Gawker, and how he lost his best friend over this, and how he even believed this garbage, and really share his story on a national stage, and then still not be, there to say, I can plead the fifth on, if you're asking me whether she told me that or not. And even let's just say she did, like back to that point, it is a porn star. Like, of course, just because she said something doesn't make it true. And just,
right.
You know what I mean? Just because he read
Yeah.
it doesn't make it what it is. It's like, that's what you should do as you're a porn star. You got to promote yourself.
Blumels also makes a great point. By the time the feds ask the question, they already know the damn answer.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. You're in a bad situation when they've already. We know the answer.
We do know the answer. So that's why I wanted to come. That's my multiple defense team strategy. That's what's in it. Like, as I call a whiff'em. What's in it for me? What's in it for the defense team? What's in it for Bubba the Love Sponge? Dude, I think it's a big win-win. And it's like let's just tell the truth here. Everything I'm talking about is the truth. These are things that actually happen. This isn't conspiracy. This is fact. As people out there, whether it be, the jurors or just people, the American public, draw your own conclusions. But man, come on, dude. This is extortion at its finest. And they're using it to actually build a case against a former president of the United States. Dude, this is what is going on here. This is our country's lost its mind, dude. Like, let's be real.
It totally
this is
has.
actually allowed to happen. I don't care who it is. I don't care which side of the party. If this is actually going down, this is garbage. So there it is. That's why I felt compelled today